didn't understand how big that moment was in terms of, like, we won the rugby championship that night.
And White! Nic White steals a try. They stood off him.
I love winning, and I'm very competitive.
Were you the third most capped Australian halfback?
I think so, yeah.
And who was driving those standards in those early years for you?
Matt Giddo, again, was someone I learnt off. No orange juice, that's gone, see you later.
When you're living in that moment, it must also be absolute ecstasy.
Everybody's tuning in to watch the Wallabies. Everybody.
Are there any players that stick out that were just a cut above the rest?
He'll do it over and over and over again and just get up and and you know he's broken, but he won't show it.
Change in personality, and you need to.
I'll give this show a watch real quick, and I saw Arthur Shelby, and I was like, yeah, I could be Arthur. So I shaved in a mo.
How do you want to be remembered?
Um,
Welcome back to another episode of That Backyard Property Pod. I am so excited for today's guest. A father, a husband, one of the most famous tashes in Australia, Wallaby 875, Nic White. Welcome.
Thank you very much. What a lovely intro. I've had some intros in my time, and some of them are, all nice. I really appreciate it.
Mate, it was good looking back at some of your highlights, and I thought you're actually quite clean shaven for your early years, and now there's personality on your face.
Yeah. I went through some, I guess, a bit of a journey with facial hair. So when I was coming out of school, kind of got thrust into the big boy stuff. So I was obsessed with growing a beard just so I could look a little bit older. Like, if you're going to tell grown men what to do, you can't look like a 12-year-old. So I grew a beard for like a season, pair of the beard for 2012. And then I met my wife, and she said, well, this was early days. Like, she's like, well, I think I asked her out 3 times, and when I finally wore it down, she's like, look, if you shave your beard, you can take me out for dinner. I said, fine. And the beard went real quick. And then I was clean shaven for years. And then, over in Exeter, I went on a social, they call them over there. So a big party with the team. And we'd always have a theme with our parties. And it was Peaky Blinders at the Bath races. And to be fair, I wasn't really watching Peaky Blinders at the time, and I was like, I'll give this show a watch real quick. And I saw Arthur Shelby, and I was like, yeah, I could be Arthur. So I shaved in a mo, and then I was like, I don't mind this. And I haven't shaved it since. That was kind of 2017, and I haven't touched it since. So
the wife's okay with the mo, not the beard?
She likes the mo, yeah. So it's here to stay. It is trimmed at the moment. So I took a lot off it. I got surgery tomorrow, so I've been kind of getting ready for that, and part of that was like this whiskey thing that was nearly touching my ears. It's got to go, so that was part of the prep.
Actually, we'll touch on your surgery because there's big stuff going under the knife tomorrow. Before we go into your Wallaby journey, all the success you've had, were you the third most capped Australian halfback?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, number 3, behind some legends of the game as well. Before we go into all of that, I love starting on what a home means, because I think that's really important and everyone can talk about it. So what does home mean to you? Something
we actually spoke about here at the Force, obviously, the club I play for over here, the Western Force. A lot of guys aren't from Perth. And what brings us together is this is our chosen home. And we love that about, being able to represent the state over here in Perth. And home for me, like I've moved home a lot. If the traditional version of home I'd kind of left for boarding school in Sydney, moved to Canberra, ended up over in France in Montpellier, did a stint in Exeter in England and loved it, back to Canberra, and now I'm here in Perth. So traditional version of home has moved around a lot, but home for me is wife and kids. So home can be anywhere as long as I've got Mel and my 3 little boys with me. I feel at home. When I get the chance to go home and see my 4 sisters, mum and dad, and brother-in-laws, nieces, nephews, everyone together. It doesn't matter where we are. Like, as long as we're all together, I feel very at home, and that's kind of my happy place. So, yeah, it can be at a World Cup in France or Japan, and if I've got that crew there, well, then I feel pretty at home. So it's comfort for me. It's where I feel, I can guess most might like myself, and it's the people that have been there through thick and thin, no judgment. Ups and downs. Professional sport, there's plenty of downs. I'll pick myself up off the canvas a couple of times, but there's been plenty of times where they've had to pick me up off the canvas too. And they're also the ones I want to celebrate the highs with, and there's been plenty of them as well. And like a game recently. I had everyone there in the sheds in Sydney against the British Irish Lions, which was my first retirement. And, and it was just awesome to have them there in the sheds, and then also to have them back at the hotel. Like they're the people I want to share it with straight away and share it with, because like they've been there since day dot.
And they know you for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's no, I couldn't pretend to be someone I'm not with them, because they call me out on it anyway.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I can be myself, knowing that, they'll love me one way or another.
It's almost one of those strange things as an athlete, where I imagine it's quite difficult to disassociate yourself from Nic White, the Wallaby, and Nic White, the dad and the husband. Is there, because there's probably not a difference between who you are as a person, but do you find that you're trying to be one over another?
No, I don't try. I think maybe this has probably helped me with my career. I haven't tried to be anyone. I've just been myself. But those two different people are two very different people. And it's quite fun trying to explain that to my inner circle. They don't see the angry version of Nic. Like I'm not really that guy at home. My three little boys, my wife, my dad, my sisters. It's nieces, nephews. But when I step on to Nic White at work, he's a guy that is in a very high performance environment. With some high stakes where it's a job interview every week in terms of selection. There's a lot riding on performance and getting that right. So there's a lot at stake, and with that comes a level of, I guess, professionalism that I, for one, kind of have fallen and adopted, and it was definitely part of my personality from beginning as someone that drives that. And I've always been, I find myself in leadership groups and they divide it up, and who ends up with accountability. It kind of always is me, and I'd do that without that anyway, and always did that I kind of lead from, driving standards, and that comes out on the field at times, and people can see it can come across quite aggressive, and in the moment on a sporting field, you've only got seconds to right or wrong, or sometimes I'm also the one jumping up, fist pumping when things are going well as well, and I ride that wave as well. But it can. I'm a different person. We kind of say at work, when you cross that white line, you need to become someone else, and those two different people of me are, like the guy, the community guy, the father, the husband. That I want to be this really gentle, loving man, supportive. But if that guy goes out on a rugby field, that guy's getting trampled by 150 kilos. So this guy over here is very, it's he's very different. He's pretty aggressive. That's what I need to be when I cross that line. And that's not always at work. Obviously, we spend a lot of time in meeting spaces, that sort of stuff, and you can be jovial and enjoy your time and enjoy what we do. But on field in training, on field game, I cross the line and become someone else.
I've played with many a halfback that I've seen the change in personality, and you need to. You're running the ship. Yep. You're the driver of the ship. You touched on accountability. Where does that come from?
Look, a little bit was coached early on. I remember very early days in kind of coming out of school into kind of professional environment. The standards were set by the older guys, and you matched them, and you matched them quickly. But it was because... and everything was from a place of, this is what we want to be in terms of where we want the team to go, and also individually. It's always with the best at interest, best interest of you as an individual, and the best interest of the team as well. So if you're taking a shortcut, it's just unacceptable. If you don't know your knowledge, again, unacceptable. Effort areas, unacceptable. So things have changed a little bit over time. Like early doors, it was pretty, like a little bit different. It's not as harsh as it used to be. I remember my very first session at the Brumbies in a off-season kind of fitness drill, and I didn't quite go over the white line, so you had to hit the over the line and back. Like hitting the line wasn't good enough; you had to go past it. And I remember absolutely copying it, and the whole team had to do extras. And gee whiz, I copped it. I thought, gee whiz, this is day one. But again, it was just unacceptable. Like if that's what you got to get over the white line. You get over the white line. There's no shortcuts. And for me, I just want what's. I love winning, and I'm very competitive. But I know that to get that result, there's a lot that has to go right throughout the week. And I just want what's best for the team. Like I know certainly for my position, for me to play well, I need guys around me to know their stuff and do really well. Otherwise, it makes my life really difficult. So, if the forwards don't know what their jobs are and get me clean ball, my job becomes really difficult. If I don't know where that clean ball needs to go, those guys need to know where it needs to go and they need to say it. Well, then that, again, makes my job really difficult. So I am kind of the linchpin between the two. And a lot of the time it falls on the 9s and 10s, these guys that, again, rely on a lot of those guys around them to play well. So you kind of become a little bit of a coach / player, but it is more powerful coming from a player.
Yeah. Who was driving those standards in those early years for you?
I remember Sterling Mortlock driving some standards when I first come down to Brumbies, and that was kind of eye-opening. Matt Giddo, again, was someone I learnt off.
He's still driving standards,
I think he still is, yeah. And again, it was like he had this amazing balance, which I'd like to think I've got as well. Of he had a lot of fun and a great guy, but also when it came to Monday morning, you got to know your stuff. Well, he drove that as well. So yeah, there was a few coaches as well that were pretty good. I remember David Nusafora pushing it pretty hard in my under 20s days, stepping in there, and yeah, it's Andy Friend. I remember turning up for a meeting 10 minutes early and he said, "Hey, mate, where have you been?" I was thinking, I'm 10 minutes early and I still live by this. He said, "Hey, mate, 10 minutes early is 5 minutes late. You're always 15 minutes early. That's time." And I was like, "Oh, okay, good to know." And that's just how it was. Like it was, it set me up really well. Dean Benton, another great one at Brumbies early doors, strength and conditioner guy, like just accepted nothing, like I remember having some tomato sauce on something at lunch, and he was like, "Eat it today, wear it tomorrow. You don't have sauce, like that's out the window." I was like, "Okay, what else can I have?" "Look, no orange juice. That's gone. See you later." Like, so look, it's look, standards were high, but again, so they should be. Like I said, it's a high performance, professional environment, a lot at stake, not just for yourself, but the whole organisation. There's a number of people that spend their hard earned to come out and watch and support this side. So. Look, for me, it was quite simple. You do everything you can.
What does the Wallaby jersey mean to you?
Oh, that's a big one, eh? Like everything. Again, I guess when you get a Wallaby jersey, it's really not about you. I can just remember that feeling, getting the first one, thinking like, "Gee whiz, initially, gee whiz, I've worked pretty hard to get this," and then you quickly mind goes, "Oh," and there's so many people in my journey that have worked equally as hard but don't get to go out and sing the anthem and play in front of 80,000 people and get that moment. So you just feel like this enormous kind of gratitude of like all those times Mum and Dad drove me far and wide for games, travelled the world, to support me. My wife, gee whiz, I've dragged her all over the world, and the sacrifices that those around you to give you that opportunity is just huge. And that's what it meant to me. It was like, oh, geez. And then you got the other part of it is this enormous feeling of responsibility because you're representing all the guys that have worn this jersey like before you and you're representing a country. So like everybody's watching. So I guess in like playing for your club, there's a large support. But like everybody's tuning in to watch the Wallabies, everybody. So, if you do well, you kind of feel it the next day. And if you do poorly, you do feel like there is a lot of eyes on you. And, it's exciting, but it's a huge responsibility. And one, I can speak for, I never took lightly, not once. So I guess that kind of paved into, driving standards. Like I felt a large weight on your shoulders, but it's a privilege to have that.
Is that weight lifted now after the double retirement?
Nah, I kind of miss it.
Yeah,
I must admit, like it was a privilege, and I knew that, and I wanted the responsibility, right? Like I wanted the ball in the big moments. I wanted the jersey. I wanted to represent my country because I felt like I could do it and do it well. So yeah, I can't miss it already. And I'm just lucky. I took myself to a point where I was able to say, look, I can't do this anymore, and yeah, enough's enough.
We were talking about that before. Was most people, whether it's amateur or professional, finishes the sport they play, especially rugby, because they're either forced out or injury, and possibly serious injury. And I guess you're about to go under the knife, so you haven't come out scot-free. What's the body telling you now?
Yeah, you're right. Like, myself and James Slipper, we spoke about it kind of this year, that we know a lot of guys that are, retired. Said as though we've come right to the end, and I'd say pretty much all of our mates are retired. Yeah. Outlasted all of them, and all of them kind of went through a journey. Let's say like 97 and 98%, we feel is like they either kind of didn't get to finish playing for the Wallabies, like didn't make that last squad, or didn't get another contract, and that's why they kind of finished, or they weren't being selected towards the end, or they got injured and weren't able to play anymore. And like, there's so many stories where guys will kind of finish a little bit with some question marks, or a bit bitter, or they finish overseas playing at a club that's, because they couldn't keep going on here, Division 2 in France, or, in the Japanese kind of Division 3, Division 2, or somewhere, just, and very lucky to be able to finish playing for your country. Finish up playing for your country is massive. Like, it's finishing on your own terms. And yeah, very lucky to be able to do that. Like extremely lucky. So that's not, it wasn't lost on us as we kind of did it. Like a lot of guys don't get that big farewell and goodbye like myself and Slip's got, and it was bloody special. What's next? So I've been battling my knee for quite a while. 2021, I did just went in for a tackle and kind of felt a pop in my knee and tore my meniscus, and that's how it all kind of starts, right? And it was kind of a meniscus tear, but also had a bit of degenerative stuff in there, and it was kind of like one of those ones where you're not going to go in and try to scoop it out or cut it out, and certainly couldn't repair it. So we'll leave that and see how long I could go. And I've been kind of battling that for a while now, at times taking out, like I didn't know, but the knees, healthy amount of fluid in the knees, like kind of like 3 or 4 mils. And I'm taking out like 100 plus mils of fluid at times. And like it was, there was a bit big going on there. And I was lucky we're very lucky we've got awesome staff around us, like S&Cs, awesome physios, unbelievable doctors with our interest at heart that looked after me and managed me through. But it was getting to a point where it was getting pretty sore. But it's probably my shoulder that was giving me a little bit more grief. That was just a really unfortunate one. Early in my career, I had a surgery on my shoulder where one of the anchors just didn't quite stay in and backed out. And as it kind of backed out over time, it was grinding, and we didn't think it. Well, I certainly didn't feel like it was right at the time, and we looked into it. But back then, for one reason or another, we kind of left it and thought it was all okay. And then I broke my scapula in 2013, and we got some scans, and they're like, "Oh, mate, there's a bit going on in that shoulder." So kind of wore away all my cartilage and started growing osteophytes and bone spurs and everything around it. So it's gone to a point where it's pretty much fused now, and all my kind of motions coming from my chest and my scap, and the shoulder itself doesn't really move. And I kind of hid that from everybody for a bit over a decade, because you don't want, like other players knowing that, oh, gee whiz, his shoulder's busted, just run at him. So kept that pretty quiet for a long time and just refused to talk about it. But in terms of mechanisms, like I just found a way to make it work. I was, it was certainly made my passing look a bit ugly at time, but it still worked. Like I found a way. The body's an amazing thing. You just find a way to make it work. And I've got to get a full replacement on that. So I'll get that in January. But that was probably a bigger issue. But the knees also, I've got to get that done ASAP before it gets too bad. That if I go too much bone on bone in the knee, like I'm staring down a replacement. So I'll get an osteotomy tomorrow that'll just hopefully push a knee replacement further down the track. And look after me. But yeah, mate, I know that there's front rowers out there that have neck injuries, back injuries. Like we all come out, some better than others. I'm certainly on probably the more spectrum of worse off, but everyone's got their problems.
Yeah, so not scot-free.
Nah, like no one comes out of playing professional rugby for 15 years without some bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
I mean, like no one. But yeah, these are mine, and look, I wouldn't change it. No way. Like I loved every minute of it, and I look forward to getting the body fixed. Like I've got 3 young boys, so to be able to, like lift my arm up a bit more would be bloody lovely, and throw the ball around, and with the knees, I'm not sure what life looks like down the track, but if I can get back to running around with the boys and just kicking the ball with them, my youngest is 3, so I've got plenty of years out of me of that. So look, there's that side of you that starts to you look at, right? Like doctors are going, mate, you gotta stop putting your body through this much trauma. It's starting to get dangerous, and you've also got to think of those around you. So yeah, look, I always said I'd love to play until the wheels fall off, and the wheels fell off.
Yeah, the wheels are off. The wheels are off.
They're off.
So talk me through some of these moments that you've had, like looking back at your careers, and there's no doubt some really highs and some real lows. And there's one moment that I remember distinctly was you kicked a penalty against the All Blacks from about 50, which is pretty good.
Yep.
And then you score a try between Kieran Reid and maybe Cody Taylor, someone. Score a try, beat the All Blacks for the first time in a number of years. Those moments must be hard to look back and go, how good was that? When you're living in that moment, it must also be absolute ecstasy.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. I really didn't understand how big that moment was in terms of like we won the rugby championship that night. So yeah, like come off the bench. Remember Hoops saying to me, like, I want to have a shot at this one. I think we had someone in the bin, yellow card, so I want to waste a bit of time. I was like, mate, I'll have a crack from out here and nailed it. I think, gee whiz, that's not bad. Like, and then, scored a try, and like that. Yeah, that was a nice feeling. But at the same time, and I think this was just my personality and my whole career. Like, I was always thinking to the next immediately. So like that was a huge moment, a great win. I don't even think I had a beer after that win. A few photos with a couple of mates with the trophy, and that's it. Saw mum and dad back at the hotel and my wife, and then I was straight away like, all right, we're the All Blacks in Eden Park a week from now. So, all right, I'm going to go out and watch the game. Good night, guys. I'm going to go up straight on review, watching what can we do better. And that was kind of like, to be honest, that was like most of my highs. Like everything was always like, all right, what's next? Which, like, it's hard to really say that I regret that because it probably made me who I am. Yeah, like maybe kind of who I am, and I was always hungry to get the next thing. But I wasn't too big on stopping and smelling the roses too much. Like I was always like, there's another game next week, there's another one to win, so let's go get it. But it's funny that story. Like with that game, I kind of had 3 chances at that, like almost identical with the All Blacks. So 2014, I come on in Brisbane and I kicked a goal from about similar distance off the bench to put us 5 in front, and then had to manage the game out for the next, like kind of 10 minutes. And I got that one wrong. And there was only a small amount of time left on the clock, and I decided to kick it out. And I put it out thinking it was the right thing to do. Looking back on it now, we could have held the ball for maybe 2 or 3 more phases and done that, and we would have been, I reckon, okay. And probably managed the game that way. I put it out. They play a couple of phases, and Fekitoa scores, and Colin Slade kicks the goal to win the game, and we lose it. And I copped a lot of that, and rightfully so. Like you live and die by these moments. But it was nice that I got a chance to not many guys get a chance to redeem themselves. So no one in 2015, other than Matt Tamua, kind of connected the dots that in 2015, 12 months on, I had a chance to right those wrongs. I came on, same thing, kicked a goal almost immediately, bang, to just kind of put us just in front. And it was like, all right, this time I'm not making that mistake again. And, I managed that game differently. And then fast forward to 2022, and I'm in the same position again, and that one couldn't really do too much about that one. But kicked a goal, had to manage it out, that one went a bit different, but for a number of different reasons. We won't get into that. But let's just say, it's a very contentious decision.
And it hurt.
Yeah, and that one hurt because I feel like we deserved that one. But again, it was like one of those ones where I'd learnt from the mistakes I've made in the first one, and actually I'd had a chance to right those wrongs and actually do it. But yeah, it should be 2 from 3, not 1 from 3.
Well, I guess those moments you say, the ones that you do call it make a failure or whatever it might be, because you've learnt from that, you then become a better player anyway. It's the same as anything in life. Are there any other moments that stick out that you really think back at and go, that was good? I'm guessing Joburg or the Lions winning.
Yeah,
Sydney
recent ones, like definitely Joburg's pretty special. I don't think many teams go over there and win, let alone the way in which we did it. Yeah, unbelievably special. Like the Lions game, that was pretty cool. The emotion of the week, having my whole family there. It was packed. It was just, the atmosphere was unbelievable. It was a bizarre game, but I like one that I don't know. I just really enjoyed that game. Like, just have games like that. Trying to flick back into my career, like, gee whiz, we've played over 300 games. They all kind of start blurring into one.
Well, you won the premiership, right, for Exeter?
Yeah, my times in Exeter were pretty good. Like, the big games were lovely. Like at Sandy Park, like, it's an unbelievable kind of small field. Kind of holds kind of 12,500 to 15,000. And we used to go out and warm up, and we run out in the stadium on the far side was the library, and be packed by the time we come out to warm up, just completely packed, everyone there, and they just chant for you as you're doing your warm up. It was just an unbelievable atmosphere. Like, we had some times there that were pretty special. Even in France, playing in Montpellier, like, there was some cool wins we had over there as well. Like, I don't know, get back to me. Like, there's been some good ones. I don't know, like, even my days all the way back to, like, playing for Eastwood up in the Shoot Shield. Like, we had some great times and great wins there, and
had a pretty good season.
We had a great season there, and there's plenty of good moments, man. Like,
It's one of those funny things that obviously never even got close to the heights you had, but not playing rugby, I didn't realise that those moments of just sitting in the shed afterwards, after a game, and just enjoying that moment was something that I was going to miss so much. Playing, yes. Winning, yes. All those sort of things. But just sitting and enjoying and reflecting is one of those things I was like, oh, actually, I probably enjoy that more than the playing part. So I don't know, how do you think you'll fill that void moving forward? Because you're no doubt wanting to be a part of a team and succeed and compete, and like, you've obviously got a competitive hunger.
Yeah, I'll definitely need something to compete at. A little bit like I was saying before, it's kind of the way I've been. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball to see how I'm going to go in the next period of time. It's been well documented that some players struggle going through this transition, but I am very much someone that just constantly looks forward. I'm not one to look back and dwell too much. Like, I don't. Like, I'm looking to go into coaching, and I can see myself wanting to do really well at that, and leaving no stone unturned is kind of, like my kind of the way I do things. And I can see myself just getting fully into that and not really looking back on what I did and miss it too much. I want to be an awesome dad over the next period of time. I missed a lot of things. In the kind of last 7 years since we've had kids. I look forward to being able to give back a bit and be there for them, like for rugby on Saturdays, Oz kick on Sundays, school drop-offs in the last couple of weeks. Mind you, don't mind missing them. I've found it a lot harder. But I've got 3 little boys that are, and that excites me as well. So, there's plenty to learn about being a good dad too. Like, it doesn't just happen. That's certainly what I've found is I'm constantly looking at ways that I can get better. Like, I've got 3 very energetic little boys that I want to do right by, but between that and coaching, I can see myself looking forward a lot. And I won't. I'm sure there'll be moments like what draws me back, like kind of things like this, talking about it. I do meet a lot of people that want to chat about my playing days, but I don't mind looking back and being able to look back with a smile and talk about it. But for the most part, when my head goes on the pillow, I'll be thinking about tomorrow and what I can do really well and plan that. And I won't be sitting there thinking, gee whiz, I wish I was out there throwing my head in a dark place. So, it's
yeah.
like I said, it might be different, and I'm open to that. Like, I understand that there are going to be some challenges. I'm also know the type of person I am. The type of person I am is I want something to chase, and I'll find something. I'll dangle something out there, and I'll chase it with everything I've got.
Are there any coaches that you can see yourself emulating or replicating? Like, who are some of those coaches that you're wanting to be pull parts from them?
Yeah, there's probably two. First one, Scott Wisemantle. Had him in Montpellier, had him with the Wallabies for a number of years. He coached Japan right up until they had the Brighton Miracle. Then I had him in France. Then he kind of took England on that run up until 2019. Like, unbelievable coach. He's with Parramatta Eels now. And he's just got a wealth of knowledge, someone who I'll probably lean on really heavy over the next period of time. But I'm also just very similar to him in terms of energy. He's a little bit of a larrikin. I can be at times, certainly off field, around meeting spaces. I'm pretty high energy. I guess what people call that these days, ADHD, probably undiagnosed. But, I'm just go and until I'm stopped, and then I sleep. And then, he's someone that I can see myself being a lot like and leaning on, and who's also an attack coach, which is something I'd probably like to look down the line, further down the line, having a dabble at one day. And then Joe Schmidt's probably another guy who probably more so a little bit, what's the right word, more detail oriented, and the way he sees the game is very similar to how I see the game. I think we're very similar in that. I think he's a little bit more measured than I'd be, and he's obviously got a wealth of experience. But in terms of personalities, like Joe's, I couldn't be Joe. Like, he's got me covered there. But just in terms of how I see the game, he's another guy that I've spoken to at length in the last kind of probably 12 to 18 months. I remember when Joe first came on, we were talking about my role over the next kind of 18 months in the Wallabies, and I said, look, I'm just going to be open, like coaching something I also want to go into. So we had that in mind, and he's helped me over the last 18 months, kind of just like, with half an eye on coaching and ways in which I could, fast track that. So, yeah, he's someone we see the game the same, so someone I can lean on, and someone so they'll be my two mentors for the next period of time. I've had a number of unbelievable coaches, but a lot of them have been personalities that I just can't replicate. You know what I mean? They're two guys that probably can't spring to mind.
You've travelled and you've played with a lot of players, and I'm sure you get asked this question a bit, and it'd be remiss of me not to. But are there any players that stick out that were just a cut above the rest?
Yeah, look, it's hard to not see Slips as just like, we need to clone that man. Clone him. So now if someone can figure it out. Yeah, that man's genetics. Yeah, but he's got two little girls. Caro, we need a boy. Go again.
Junior Slips.
We need a little Slips, because he's mate, like the amount of games he's gone through, and anyone who's met him, like, he's just a natural leader. Just everything about him is just so impressive. It's like I always felt really comfortable going out onto a rugby field knowing Slips was there. I was very lucky that I only played a handful of games for the Wallabies where Slips wasn't there. Yeah. And it just did feel different. I can say that it's not just me. It is the whole team feels different when he's in the environment. He's just, it's hard to really put words to describe what it is, but the people who meet him, like, he does have an aura about him. He's got an iconic laugh. But he puts his body on the line, like, he'll do what needs to be done. He's literally as tough as nails. Like, he doesn't grimace, doesn't even, like, there is no, like, he'll do it over and over and over again and just get up and just like it. And he's broken, but he won't show it. Like, just, there's a different level of toughness to Slips. And, he doesn't come off and he doesn't do it, then come off and whinge about it. That's what I mean. Like, he just goes about his business and just does it. And he's done it 151 times in the front row. You know what I mean? Like the amount of people go, that's a lot of games. Imagine all the trainings, all the test match Tuesdays, all the trial games, all the, you know what I mean? The times we belt, you know, each other. And he's yeah. What I do love about Slips is he's also, it's something to do with up here. And I kind of see myself similar in that, like we joke about, like we're the most unassuming blokes. So you look at Slips, he's not this huge kind of muscly guy in the front row that played 151 tests. You know, he's strong, like he lifts well in the gym, but he's not the strongest. You don't look at him and think just unbelievable athlete, but man, he's, you know, the best front rower we've ever had that played both sides of the scrum, which to my knowledge is unbelievable. Started as a tight end, finished as loose head, and for many years there crossed over. Like we played England in I think 21 or 22, and he jumped across just to cover tight head. He hadn't played there in years, and I'm like, mate, can you start and play tight head? Like the 23 World Cup, both tight heads go down. Eddie just leans straight on Slips. So I need you to play tight head against, I think, Fiji. He might have played tight head that whole tournament. I can't remember. But like, I just remember there was a point I'm just thinking, mate, like this is incredible. Yeah. So, yeah, like, and I'm a bit the same. Like, it's obviously something to, like, you know, like I'm not muscly. I'm no shoulders, got bandy legs, you know, like it just, there's nothing that screams like athlete. But, you know, I think it's something to do with the mindset. Just, yeah, and Slips is a cut above the rest.
I wonder where that comes from, that mindset. Like you obviously develop it from the people you're around early days, your parents, your close networks. Do you work on that? Like, is that something that you've worked on, or it's just something that was built
to
in?
my knowledge, not Slips either. No, and I don't know. I haven't really dived into it. Just got it, but yeah. Good
as
genetics.
A coach, there'll be the different people that you're going to have to.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell, like, being in that environment, who needs a little push and who sometimes needs the reins. You know, buddy, you'll hit everything that moves, mate. Like, we don't need to do that right now. So, no, I don't really know. We talk about having the right mindset, but in terms of kind of having it all the time, like, it's for sports psychs to deal with, and we've had some pretty good ones in our time, but it's not something I've kind of worked on. But yeah, we have mindset meetings going into games and things like that. Like, and guys like myself and Slips have, you know, like usually get leaned on to talk about it and what mindset we need this week, because it does change week to week. But in terms of how you get it, that's when you lean on the sports side. So Andrew May for the Wallabies and Maisie would be like, all right, well, this is the mindset we need, but if you need any help getting to that mindset, we'll go and see Maisie. I'm not a sports psych, I can play halfback. So Slips, like I said, it's just this unbelievable toughness, and you know that he's just going to, you know, and again, when we talk about mindset, we talk about just, you know, like doing what needs to be done, and a lot of times that's putting your body in harm's way. And, I think he'd have no issue doing it, and I certainly had no issue doing it.
Absolutely. Having kids, being a father, it's obviously completely different to being a rugby player, but there's no doubt there's some things you've learned on your journey that you must be almost implementing as a father. Is that the case, or you don't read too deep into that stuff?
Again, I kind of just lived two different lives a little bit. You know, I did have to work on with Andrew May a fair bit on trying to leave that guy at home and not bring him home, which I did, I think, in my early years, and I struggled with that. You know, you come home and, you know, like I, again, would drive standards at work, but you can't come home and be that guy at home. Like, you know, like, why are the dishes out? You know, I mean, why's your bed not made? Like, why? You know, I told you to do your home reading. Like, you can't be that guy. Like, you can't just, for the better word, be an arsehole at home. Like, you know, these guys are paid athletes. That's why we drive like standards. And, you know, there's a result at the end of the week. There is no result at the end of the week. We're just living life and trying to be better. Yeah, exactly. Just trying to be better versions of ourselves every day. So, you know, we're there to help one another and get through it. But, yeah, I do a fair bit of work. You know, I'll drive home, spend a minute, kind of, kind of box breathing, and then, you know, tell myself that I, you know, leave the rugby player and be the best dad when I walk in with a smile, because you can have bad days at work and bring it home with you. And I think the beneficiary of that work was definitely my wife. She likes it. And she helps me sometimes, like, wait, leave him at work. Come on. Maybe, you know what I mean? I'm not your teammate. And it's like, yep, sorry, love.
Sorry.
And that, I think routine as well. I got 3 little boys. We just operate better with a good routine, which is something I've I've been very strict on my routine for a very long time. It's starting to loosen up a little bit now. I can with retirement, but that helps. And I just know that boys, certainly I do. I just work better when I exercise and we get out of the house a lot. So, but no, I haven't dove too much into things I've learnt as a player and what I'm going to learn as a coach and taking it home. But I think. I don't know. It's
just a journey, right?
Yeah, I'm also and my wife will say this, I get the freedom to be fun dad at home. So I'm not, I'd say my wife, she drives the ship at home a little bit more and I just need to fit in. And she'd say she looks after 4 boys at home. And I slip in there no jumping on the couch and she'll turn around and I'm Batista bombing bloody Vinny straight into the couch. And I'm like, get that in here. She's like, Nick, no jumping on the couch. I'm like, sorry. WWE time, let's go. So, it's, no, I enjoy it.
It's hard not to want to be the fun person at home as well. It's just hard and there's the bound. It's all that stuff.
I get that, and I've had that with rugby, that I can go away and come back, which kind of allows you to be the fun and bring a great attitude because you get the outlet of going away and come back. And my wife's had to hold down the fort for like I said, for the better part of, our oldest is turning 8 soon. So for the better part of 8 years, she's had to, and then I just come waltzing in from training. I'm like, hello, Mum. Or, a couple of weeks away. And it's like, look, I got prezzies. Look, Dad's home. And she's just like, oh, here we go, fun dad.
Here's some more kit for you.
Any chance you can get them to eat their carrots. Any chance you can get them to do their home readers. Yeah. It's like, sorry. Yep, that's right.
Brushing kids' teeth is the hardest thing.
Yeah. And I've now, I've done 3 weeks of retired life at home now. And it's, I'm very much, she's sitting back and watching me just, absolutely sink as a full-time dad. She's like,
stumble your way through it.
Yeah. She's like, need a hand? I was like, 2?
Please. Yeah. Rounding out the chat, I've loved it. I didn't want to go too deep into rugby, but in terms of, I love finishing off with what we're proud of, and this kind of goes into that. But is there one particular trait that you'd love to be remembered as Nic White the Wallaby? How do you want to be remembered in terms of the framework of the Wallabies?
Yeah, I think just work ethic. I wasn't the most talented, absolutely not. But, I was just really persistent, worked bloody hard. Tried to work harder than anyone else. I full looked into the whole, like Christmas Day, if they're not training, I'm training. I did that early on and we'd just, we would empty the tank and just figured that was my way in. And, I created a really good base that way. And, just a tenacious little bugger that worked hard. And, I think I have, and that's probably been a big part of my retirement is I haven't been able to be that guy for probably the last little while just due to injuries. I've had to be managed and I haven't enjoyed that. It's, like a lot of training sessions, like, we've got to get him out of here, get him off. He's hitting his meters and I'm like, get out of here. I'm leading from the front. Let's go. And, I did enjoy that. I really tried not to ask anything of the guys around me that I wasn't already doing myself. So, what I do love and about the group that I've been a part of the last 2 years is I think for a large part through the middle of my career, I did feel uncomfortable and like guys were going to, if I finish up, guys are going to be so happy to see the back end of me. But we've gone through this period and a lot of guys have come up and said, we're going to miss you, mate. Because I've missed a couple of weeks here and there and then get you back in and immediately go, mate, we've missed it. We've missed you, driving standards. We've missed you, being there to keep guys on track and steer the ship and make sure we're working hard. And that's bloody lovely. I think they certainly the guys that I'd trained and played with over the last bit of time remember for me as that guy. And it's nice to have that you're not, they're not happy to see you walking out the door. They actually say they miss you. They might just be saying that. But it was nice that it was even mentioned, right? So, that's what I'm definitely most proud of. And it did kind of, I don't really, like I said, sit back and smell roses or anything like that and take moments. But when boys were kind of saying that in one of those 3 retirements I had, that was what it hit me. I was like, man, I'm glad that they understood that it was coming from a place of, like I just meant really well, and that they, they appreciated it. It really hit the heartstrings. So yeah, I'm now number 1 fan.
And yeah, look, then clearly it was received by them. Like, yeah, they can clearly see that. I love rounding out these conversations, especially I've got 2 daughters, trying to get them to talk. Our youngest has come up to 3, so similar to your young one. Our eldest is 5, but trying to get her to tell us what she's proud of, because I feel so much in Australia, and you would have seen this as a professional athlete. Tall poppy syndrome is rife in Australia, and we just don't sit there and reflect, but also talk about what we're proud of. Yeah. And so I'd love to hear from you, just really briefly, what you're proud of personally and professionally.
Good one. Good question. You're right. We don't talk about it a lot. It's funny, like when you go and just branch off here really quickly, but what you're saying is like when you go in and you sit down with the coaches and they say like, okay, like do your review of the game, almost every player will go in with like all negatives and nothing positive from the game. And the coaches will always sit there and be like, hey, did you do anything good on the weekend? And you're like, oh, maybe. Like, I don't know. Your straight away mind goes to like, what can I fix? And very rarely, and I got taught in Exeter to make sure I'd always write down like 3 things I did really well in the game, and also 3 things to work on. And we do that a lot now, is like, always look at what you're proud of. So professionally, what I'm proud of, I think that I had 6 Wallaby coaches, and that that I was picked by all 6. I'm proud of that. Kind of, I've seen players come in and you get picked by one coach because he likes you, but then the next guy doesn't. Like, I was able to kind of have sustained kind of success, or sustained, like, play well. Yeah. And picked by like that. That was kind of something that I was like, because every time a coach would come in, will he like me? Will he not? He does. That's good. Next one,
another one
came in. Like, ideally didn't have 6, but like, no, that was pretty cool. And personally, I think 2 things. One, like an open mindset. Like, I've played a lot of different styles, and I think I've got a pretty open mind. Like, more so like I got to drive things, and but I've got an open mind of like things can be done a million different ways, and as long as we're all on the same page. But I'm open to getting better, and like I don't know what I don't know, so I ask a lot of questions. And I'm open to learning new things and learning different ways to do it and trying those different ways. But then I'll also be the first to say, nah, that's no good, back to the other way. But I'll openly give it a go, which is not always the case. And I wasn't always like that. I was pretty stubborn in what I knew early doors. And I also, like, I'm proud, I apologise pretty quickly, because I do get it wrong. And when you drive standards, you got to kind of shoot from the hip pretty quick sometimes, especially in my environment, and you get that wrong. And, I'll very quickly go, I got it wrong, and admittedly do that. Remember this year I had to buy all the forwards coffees when I got it real wrong. And mate, but I'm proud of that. Like, I'm not this guy that can sit there in front of you and think I'm always right. Again, you don't know what you don't know, and I also know I'm not always going to get it right, and I don't expect those around me to always get it right. And I'll be the first to, I was taught that by Patrick Phibbs early in my days and down at the Brumbies. He's like, drive it, but then also when you get it wrong, say sorry. So
it's impressive. You've had a very impressive career to watch, and I think the thing that I've loved the most is leaving Australia, maybe prematurely in terms of your career, going to Montpellier, going to Exeter, coming back, and then excelling. That would be quite challenging from what I could see. So I can only say, like, it's just been an impressive journey to watch from a true Wallaby supporter that I found we lost our way a little bit. So I'm back. I'm back on the bandwagon. And thank you and Joe for that. But I just wanted to say congratulations on a wonderful career. I'm really excited to see what you do next, because you've clearly got this competitive fire in your belly, and and whatever it is in coaching that you do, I'm really excited. And I just want to say thank you for putting everything on the line, both knees, shoulder, and your mind, and everything else in your head. So thanks, and thanks for coming in today.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I don't know if anyone learns anything from that, but if you do, thank you.
Mate, they will. Or they'll just enjoy the stories.
Yeah. I've got a few yarns, but thanks.
Thank you so much for listening. It's amazing to have you as part of this community for That Backyard Property Pod. Remember, please hit like, subscribe, follow, and send through any questions that you have. We cannot wait to see you again next Tuesday. If you can't wait though, remember we have minis that come out every Thursday, which go into a little bit more depth into the lending and mortgage world. Thanks again, and can't wait to see you again.